favorite nasty songs is by Big Sean.
What? Which one is that?
I think it's called So Good, but it's on my nasty song playlist.
Is that the name of the playlist? Nasty song playlist. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's my nasty song playlist is all about sex. So it features artists like Big Sean and Meg Thee Stallion and City Girls.
It's like your lungs are being strangled from the inside. Like somebody's just wringing out your lungs. But you're like, but I'm going to valiantly persist to finish this sentence.
Why do they speak that way? I don't get it. I love making fun of it. It is hilarious to me. But yeah, if I hear somebody talking to me like that for too long, I am ready to stab myself in the eye with the fork.
Welcome to Rappin Atlanta. I'm Nita Sharice.
And I'm Nikki.
And in this podcast, we have a frank, honest, and open conversation about the FX show Atlanta.
We have noticed that there are similar features in each show, and during our discussion, we offer our impressions on what those features are. There's a That's So Atlanta moment in each episode that most clearly and accurately depicts the spirit or quirk that is Atlanta and life in the American South.
Darius-isms highlight the special flavor the character Darius brings to the show because he is easily one of the most layered, complex, and compelling characters on television.
There always seems to be a mystical element or some strange thing that happens beyond all logical reason and sometimes scientific explanation. We've all experienced those kinds of moments.
And finally, the SGR moment is very plainly the moment in each show when shit got real and we are reminded that life is not a game and desperation has the power to motivate any and every possible action. Today, we're reviewing Season 4, Episode 5, Crank That Killer, written by Donald Glover and directed by Hiro Murai. Al regrets his past actions in more ways than one, and Ern and Darius find themselves in an awkward situation. This episode was so good.
Yes, this was a great episode right off the bat. Very much, again, reminiscent of the first season, but we're seeing them as wealthy people now. So they have a lot more autonomy than... It's so nice to see them unstressed because you go back and look at those other episodes. Ern was stressed, visibly stressed. You know, Darius and Al, visibly stressed. Darius less so, but
yeah, I don't think that Darius has ever been stressed, at least outwardly.
You're right.
Yeah, but the other ones, like Al's, it comes off in a more quiet way. And then Ern, you know, like he's naturally irritable. So I think, like in the first season, you saw that irritation more. It was probably like brought on by the stress. But real quick, if we could maybe call out like some of the things that kind of harken back to the first season. And the first thing I'll say is them being in the apartment, Darius, you know, fixing something to eat, like, yeah. And of course, the difference is the surroundings are
so plush.
They're so plush. It's so nice. They're no longer on a couch, like outside, like on top of a hill. What did you notice?
Right off the bat, the first note I wrote was, the new digs are plush. I literally said that. And I love how, you know, they have, what's the word for it? Where they've set up the scene where it echoes the scene of them being in that apartment. Mm-hmm. This time, Ern is inside. Darius is not answering the door with a gun, you know, and verifying Ern's identity. And their interaction is like good old times. I know that we still have a little bit of animosity towards Darius because of the shit that he pulled in Europe, but I guess all is forgiven among the three of them. So whatever.
I'm not okay with that at all.
I'm not okay. I think
it looks like he hasn't suffered at all.
I feel like there needs to be some conversation about what transpired, but maybe they did work it out. But I feel like both of us need to see that for our hearts to be okay with it.
Yeah.
But I like the way that Al is on the couch. He's still operating the TV, while Darius is cooking and Ern is kind of just hanging out. And it's very reminiscent, but they have come up. And Al even says in that first scene, I'm rich. I love the artwork. It looks like Al just moved into the space. So he's not fully moved in yet. So it's new, but they are right at home, just like they always have been. And you could argue that, well, they are the home that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I like how you said that Donald Glover, he's no longer on the outside. And even on the scenes when he used to be on the inside with them, there's always like a really sweaty, desperate quality. Mm-hmm. Like, now that we know what he was coming out of, it makes even more sense, but it's like something has to work. Something's got to hit. You remember like in the first season how Al was pretty much like, I know what you're trying to do. Like, you've come back, like you're trying to be my manager, like if you, somebody suggested that we do a rewatch. I think maybe we should like at some point, because there are just so many things, like just how Ern was working at the airport. And then that crazy friend of his, which I wish they would kind of bring back for just a couple seconds and see what he's up to. But his old coworker was showing him the video and he's like, oh, that's my cousin. And then all of a sudden you want to go see your cousin. So he had a plan taking shape in his head then. And if you want to be cynical, it could be like, oh, you only reached out to your cousin because of this. But he just saw a way out of what he was in. Mm-hmm. And so every time he would be around them, it was like he was trying to infiltrate what Al and Darius already had. But now it's like, no, he's carved out his own place. Mm-hmm. Al, I like how their work and family relationship, how they can move back and forth easily. Like they found a rhythm, because that has to be weird at certain points. Because it is like you work for this person. And maybe that's because like Ern also has other clients now. So like, he doesn't have that thing of like, I can't fuck up because like, this is my only client. So maybe there's some confidence on his side, but like the way that, they're just interacting where Al does something and it says, hey, Ern, I'm going to need a new phone, or like, I'm going to need, there's like little things that he tosses off that you can tell like, oh yeah, he does like work for him, but it seems to be okay. Like nobody is catching feelings or like burying down like resentment. It's just like, this is what it is. And it is because you're not worrying about anything.
Al is watching TV and he's trying to get the news, and they call him old for watching the news.
Well, he's first complaining that there's nothing to watch because he's like 5,000 stations and I can't find anything to watch.
Yeah. And
they talk about like streaming. And he was like, nah, man, because you can't stream the news. And he was like, the news, nigga? Are you 80?
Yeah.
Which I found surprising because Ern is usually the one that's like wanting him to be more adult. So I thought it was funny that he was clowning him for watching the news.
Yeah, but then Donald Glover is so freaking, which generation is he? Such a millennial in that way where they don't get their news from the regular news. They get their news from online. That's why he said.
So do I. And I'm an old ass Gen Xer. I forgot that local news comes on. When I see it, I'm like, oh, look at that.
I would say I'm on the fence because I belong to what generation? The Zennial.
Well, we're Zennials. Yes, we're
Zennial
on the cusp.
Right in the middle.
We're not freaked out by computers, but we remember when they started to take over the world.
Yes. So right between Generation X and the Millennial generation, that's where we are, nestled, warm, comfy, self-aware. But yeah, so he is fully Generation Z or Y or whatever the hell. And so he lists off these news sources, TMZ when somebody died, or Twitter when somebody's canceled, the Shade Room comments, not the actual Shade Room.
Yeah, just the comments. He's right. He's completely correct. Lipstick Alley too, right? Didn't he say Lipstick Alley?
Yeah, yep. Which I wasn't familiar with, but now I'm going to be.
Girl. Oh yeah, that's where it's at.
Tell me. We're literally sharing information on this podcast.
I just assume that you know what I know. When did we stop sharing the same brain?
Okay, I don't know. I guess sometime when I started becoming a nigga, according to you. Anyhow.
Oh, we need a whole other podcast episode just on that. Yeah, it's very frightening, and I would love all your support out there, guys. Thank you. Because we have fans now. Okay, let's.
Okay, so So they bring up the Crank Dat KIller. And what I love most about this scene is Al's acting, because he is genuinely giving, oh no, this applies to me. I'm stressed, I'm worried, but I'm not going to say anything. Yes. And meanwhile, Ern and Darius are just riffing off of it, because it is kind of funny. This dude is just killing people who make Crank Dat videos.
But it's also dark that they're laughing, and it's like, the people are dead though. Yes. And what I loved was Donald Glover's "This Is America" move. He went, don't, no. And he was like, I guess he was like imitating how the Crank Dat KIller kills. And he's like, he just like walks in, or like whatever music he was saying. And then he was like, and then he has a little knife and just goes. That was so funny. I was like, is he about to break out into "This Is America"? Because that's how he was moving.
So much of the stuff in this episode was really negative and bad, but I found it hilarious because it was just presented in a very hilarious way. So yes, we find out that Al has made a Crank Dat video. What did he call it? Crank Dat
You mean Neutron. I've really seen that before because I was terrorized for years with that dance because many of you may not know, I was a classroom teacher at that time, and that is all they wanted to do. I had to learn that dance in order to explain a very complicated concept that they would not listen to unless I was doing that.
Callahan will tell him, hey, I got this new formula for you called the quadratic. You gotta plug in and solve it 2 times plus minus, aight?
X equals negative b plus or minus square root. B squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. 2a.
And the kids are like, okay, I can listen now. It's completely correct. Yes, we used to have to do that to get them to listen.
We ourselves were just talking about Gracie's Corner. I'm kind of thinking that adults actually love Gracie's Corner more than the kids do. So we go from this scene to the studio, and again, they are comfortable. They're easy. They're talking about getting their hands on the new Nike shoes. Mm-hmm. And then this dude I had to write that down. Some guy named Doug is his rap name, which reminded me of a Pimp named SlickBack, and of course a Tribe Called Quest.
When I heard some dude named Doug, I'm like, don't go in there. That's probably the Crank Dat KIller. Because I thought he was saying, I don't know, some dude named Doug. And I'm thinking, dude, you are the most irresponsible gatekeeper ever. You didn't get more information? Like, the Crank Dat KIller is out there. And then,
I just found out about it. Like, Earl, isn't this the same day? Is this the same day or the next day?
He just found out about it, but it's been going on. Al just found out about it. Everybody else knows. So for you to come in, now, of course, I go on these roller coasters and it seems like it took a long time. It's usually like 5 seconds. Like, oh my God, what are you doing? Oh, that's his name. Okay, cool. And then I was fine. But when he initially was like, hey, you want to leave this room with the people that you know and come into like another room, or like, let somebody in here who only identified himself as Doug and as a Crank Dat KIller out there. I just knew that like, it's the Crank Dat KIller. I mean, this is pretty early in the episode, but who am I? And then I was like, oh, some dude named Doug who had real Clark County vibes.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me of him, like the clean cut, kind of like harmless rapper.
Okay. Another thing, before we go to the studio, the other thing that they mentioned, because he was like, yeah, if you were selling drugs in ATL, then you made a Crank Dat video. And he mentioned Greenbriar. Yeah, Greenbriar is Greenbriar Mall.
Greenbriar. Yeah.
Yeah, Greenbriar Mall. So I'll post a link to that mall in the show notes. And I was just like, well, this is the second episode where it takes place in a mall.
That couple, the Latinx couple drove up. The first thing I thought was, that girl looks like Van. Like her energy was Van, just kind of like, pretty girl. She looks tired. And it was and he reminded me of, I need to go. Was there ever a scene where he had headphones? There was just, I don't know how they were able to do it, but they had their energy. They don't look anything like them. But when she pulled up, I'm just like, what's happening? I immediately was like, okay, they're struggling. This is some Van energy. And then when she was like, I'm supporting your record. Then when he turned around and there was a little girl in the back, I was like, oh, this is such a callback. And then the show, her drive away and then they're like right there and I just loved how it's like this episode, it all took place in one spot and it was good. It was really, really good. I love that they're back in Atlanta and, you know, it's like, it's just found its step. And I'm kind of sad that this is it, but also glad because they don't have a chance to like not be good anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
the shark. They're not going to give the show a chance to jump the shark. And
no. So yeah, those are all the season 1 correlations. Yes.
Well, I have one later on, but I'll wait till we get to that.
Yes.
I'm excited about it.
And you guys, if you have others, please feel free to comment on the YouTube page. We really like the interaction.
I'm just going to call out our new brother, Luxurious.
Please do.
Yes. Come on in, bruh. Like, we see you. You want to, we've commented, respond to the comment. Let's get something going because, hey, we love your energy.
Luxurious Blue. I'm working on your theme song.
Yeah.
I may just steal from Gwen Stefani. We will see. But come on in the room, honey, like Tabitha would say.
Come on in. Very
insightful comments. And I also really appreciate the timestamps. Yeah. I like that I can just go because like I discussed with my dear friend, Nikki, 5 minutes after I say things, I don't remember what I said. So it's really helpful. I don't remember what she has said. I don't know how I make it through each day, but those timestamps are very helpful for like orienting me in the space. So I thank you for that. When they drive off, we go to Ern and Darius, who are parked just a few feet away, getting out and going to the truck. Because that's when I was like, oh, they're right there.
Okay. Yeah. Serve them all. What I immediately noticed is Ern's Hoochie Daddy shorts and why he's walking like that in them Hoochie Daddy shorts.
I tweeted it. I was like, okay, Ern in the Hoochie Daddy shorts, we see you. He's walking like, I got Hoochie Daddy shorts on and I got to let this thing breathe. He's walking like he's in a Western. He's like, I got big old spurs, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
What is that about?
I don't know.
It's actually an Atlanta sock man because they were where they were talking and Darius was explaining why they're going to this random panel van to buy shoes because the shoes are sold out. There is an Atlanta sock man and he does sell socks out of a truck. The link is in the show notes. He's got a Facebook page.
That was my Dariusism, even though it was like that was one of them because of how he described it. He's like a sock man except his shoes. It's like, thank you, Darius, for illuminating.
Yeah, I was just like, is there a sock man? Because at first I thought about this dude that sells socks and t-shirts and he's situated like right outside the AUC. He's kind of like right near the exit to get onto the 20. And I was thinking about like, oh, if he got socks and t-shirts for cheap, these boys is growing like weeds. I might have to go out there and stock up for them.
We go to the van and go shop.
I mean, these kids are growing and there's inflation, these prices are getting higher, but you know, they ain't gonna stop growing just because prices went up. So, you know, you got to make a way to save some money, you know? So anyway, yeah, there's no way I would have fucking gotten into that panel van to buy shit. There's no fucking way. My question is how this nigga get these sold out shoes in the first place? But he talking about, well, everybody got money. I don't need money. Why is he there? He's there in a panel van after procuring all of these shoes just to watch niggas kiss?
Or to do whatever he gets off on. I mean, I don't understand it. Like, I understand it so much, I'm going to do this. But I kind of like got what he was saying. Like, he's like, everybody got like money. I think what he was saying was just like, I can get money. Like, look at what I'm doing. I'm making a lot of money. He just wanted some sauce on it because I linked to a article about like how Nike is cracking down on the resellers because they make a comment about that when they're talking about the shoes and like how they can't find them. And he's like, man, these resellers. And he said something like, it's like shoe gentrification because they buy them at large quantities. So this van man has to have a lot of money because they like Nike is now starting to scrutinize suspicious looking transactions. Like this person just bought 50 pairs of like this one type of shoe, some in size 7, some in size. So they're trying to crack down, but and it's just like within 2 days, like they're always like on top of it. These are not like old articles. What is that actor's name? Because he's been in things before. I've seen him and he sounded like this might be a long shot. I'm like, is it going to come out that this dude is from New Orleans? Terrence Rosemore was born in Great Falls, Montana, and raised in New Orleans, where he got his start as an actor in Ted Gilliam's Dashiki Theater Company. Is that still around? He's an award-winning filmmaker and actor who's appeared in 24 feature films, including 999, First Fight, The Nice Guys, The Apostle, Candyman 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. They're not mentioning certain other things because I haven't seen any of them. Oh, Queen Sugar.
Oh, okay. Okay.
True Detectives, American Horror Story, Queen. It has to be Queen Sugar. And Netflix's Outer Banks. Behind the Camera. Skeleton Key, Monsters Ball, Fast and Furious. He served as Cash Money Records casting director. I'm telling you, I think I've just seen him like around, like in person too. Like the minute he opened his mouth, I was like, this man is from New Orleans. And he went to St. Aug.
Okay, there you go. I
can hear my people, baby.
Nobody can tell you don't know your people.
Like when he was like, yeah, all right, what you need? It's like, this is that uninterested, like customer service.
Yeah, I'm looking at his headshot now. Yeah. Okay.
Like he looked like he about to say, baby.
Baby, no.
And he was a casting director for Cash Money. I can imagine if he casted back that ass up. Look, he served from the 99 to the 2001. That's what he served. So you know that was Neighborhood Girls. And he was like, all right, turn over. All right, you in. He also competed against Wendell Pierce, who is definitely from...
Yeah, see, now I was getting Wendell Pierce vibes.
He competed against him in Little League Baseball. So they like came up.
Oh, they came up together. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
And he's a part of both the Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and the DC Universe Suicide Squad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when I saw him, I'm like, this dude is somebody. Like, they like doing that, where it's like, is that Meryl Streep just as a lady waiting at the bus stop? Okay.
Very cool. I'm glad he got on. Okay, so yeah. So it was at this point, what happened?
He was a nephew of a Mardi Gras Indian. That's like a very specific line. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nephew of actor Julian Dalcour and Mardi Gras Indian Chief Clarence Dalcour.
Okay. For y'all, those of y'all that don't know what the Mardi Gras Indians are, I will just make sure to post a link in the show notes. The important aspect of Black culture as it relates to our overall ties to the Caribbean and the African and West African. New Orleans is the top of the Caribbean, and the Caribbean has like the closest connection to who we were before we, a lot of us who are descendants of enslaved people came over here. And that's why like the African tradition has remained so alive, and the Mardi Gras Indians are part of that, expressing that African heritage. So we will educate you on that in case you're not aware of who the Mardi Gras Indians are.
I'm gonna drop a link to Julian Dalcour's his uncle's IMDb. He was in Eve's Bayou. He was a lesson before dying. Yeah, so he is a Mardi Gras Indian and an actor. And this man, the shoe man,
he's giving them the shoes. They see the shoes. Just let me see you two kiss. They're both like, huh? And he's just like, just let me see y'all two kiss. Wait, hold on. How much for the shoes, man? He's like, how much money do you want? I don't need no money, man. Everybody got money. What?
I totally understood that. You know how people they have everything. So like he just wanted something different. And I just think he just got off at just having the power and seeing like, what are people going to do for shoes? Like he probably hates all the people that he sells to.
Oh.
Like, money, but it's like, you know how you see the drug dealers? It's like, okay, you're tearing down the community, but you're like, worthless junkie. But it's like, but you're providing it. Like you're a part of this too. You're not better. Okay.
So the interesting thing is he asked them to kiss and Darius is like, all right. And Ernest's like, and then Darius is like, have you seen the shoes? So I guess the shoes are that fire. I don't think they ever actually.
They never. That's one thing about this show. They don't show people's faces and they don't show things that are a big deal. Like the MacGuffin of the show. Like this is the thing that we're trying to get. They will not show it.
Yeah. So Darius thinks it's worth it. It's not even a question of his mind. He's ready, willing, and able to kiss Ern for this shoe. Okay. So then they go back to Al and he's sitting on the couch and he's scrolling. This is one of my favorite scenes in the episode, because I love the care that they take with creating content on these screens.
The social media pages.
So did you read what was on there?
On the thing that he was reading? I don't remember.
Okay. And I love the juxtaposition. They go from proposing that these two men kiss on screen to, at the top of Al's phone, it's 9 famous people you didn't know were bisexual. And there was a picture of Black Justin Bieber.
I did not see that.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. So there's a picture.
Oh, I gotta go back.
Yes, there's a picture of Black Justin Bieber's face. And then I was just like, well, wait a minute. Is Justin Bieber bisexual? So I have a link to a YouTube video where the actual Justin Bieber's sexuality was questioned because there was a picture of him kissing some other dude I don't know or care about.
Right. The
other thing that cracked me up is there was a discussion about whether or not mermaids are white. That was killing me. On the discussion, top 10 reasons mermaids are white. 1, white women famously love the coast. 2, weird pets. 3, shut up. 4, Denmark.
What I love about that is, like, as an aspiring TV writer, those kinds of things, if you are tasked with doing that, that's where you get to just put out just all this shit that probably, like, we are not going to put that in an episode, but, like, it came from just the writer's room, just like, they just get to be stupid. Like, they don't have to worry about, great idea, but we've already set this up. So maybe it's just like there are no parameters. You can just be as crazy as you want.
That's the job I want. Creating the supportive materials in the scene and writing all the text where people like us pause to actually read it.
I want to do all of it, which is why we love creating our sponsors. Because it's just fun. It's whatever we want, But anyway.
The final thing on his screen was Gen Z trending with chicken. I don't even know what that means.
That seems like a comment on how, like, everything, like, marketing and just everything is obsessed with, like, what would Gen Z do? Like, everything has been changed up to catering to Gen Z. I speak from experience that a job that I had a couple of years back, it was the most corporate job that I've ever had. The whole thing was like how to attract Gen Z. Like we're reading like excerpts of The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell and like splitting up into work groups and learning about design to try to grab these children who are entering the workforce and don't see jobs and things as the same way. So how do we retain? Everything right now, like how they complain that like everything is about the 18 to 34 bracket, like it's all marketing is catered to children. Like right now, Gen Z is hot for everything. I see tons of articles on whether or not like Gen Z, like whether or not they're buying houses and things like the quiet quitting, like all those things are just, I'm not saying it's only Gen Z that's doing that, but it kind of originates with studying. They're so overstudied. And I say this as a Gen Xer who it seems like they weren't interested in what the fuck we were doing. Which tracks, because neither were our parents. Like, it just tracks that nobody cared. Because we were also in that age group, but nobody cared then. But it makes sense because that is the running theme, that we were not cared about. It's like, we've given you what you need. I don't know what y'all are doing over there. We could have been doing anything. So I guess it tracks. There's an obsession with the millennials, and now the children of the millennials, or at least it's like the younger than. And I feel like that was a comment on that. Like, you could just say anything like, do Gen Zers buy curtains? Like just a random, like, why? Who wanted to know this?
Al starts hearing weird sounds coming from his beautiful home that is 3 stories, apparently. Did you see that staircase? Oh, so gorgeous. So he decides to dip on out.
I'm just like, wait, you leaving? That was weird. I'm like, oh yeah, nigga, you got money now. Because that was some white shit.
It was not only weird that he left out, but also, where's your strap, my nigga? Because a couple episodes before, when during Light Skinned It, when somebody came into the studio, he had his gun ready. So I'm just like, you gonna go out by yourself? You don't have your entourage with you. You're not carrying?
I think that's just another nod to like, who is Al really? And then also maybe it's, which I don't agree with this, but maybe it's like, he was at home, like being his actual self with all the beautiful plants and like the nice surroundings. Like maybe in the studio, it's like I put on my studio, you know. Although on the other hand, I would be thinking if I'm worried about being killed, I'm most definitely leaving with my gun. But at the same time, in that moment, that's Alfred. And we have gotten maybe glimpses of who he actually is. But I think it's been a running theme that Paperboy is not who he is. Paperboy was a means to an end. And it just so happens he's had a very good end. Like, as far as he actually, like, you know, mama, I made it. But nigga got a green thumb, this beautiful house that seems very comfortable. Like, it isn't even decorated, like, outside of the samurai sword, it isn't even, like, decorated with that, you know, black, like, all black leather and glass and steel look. It looks comfortable.
Yeah.
It looks very comfortable. Like, I want to sit in there and just watch a bunch of TV, too. That place looks very, very comfortable. So I think in that moment, he was like, actually, Al just leaving. And, like, him, like, later, like, his reaction, like, when he sees that guy. I mean, we all will probably do that and be scared to save our lives, but it's not very Paperboyish. Like, the way he looked, like, this is a scared nigga.
Yeah.
Like, there was no, like, posturing at all. And I just don't think that that's actually him.
I don't think it is him either. And maybe, again, maybe we'll get some closure on that. Like, maybe that will be revealed.
Because when Darius didn't have a problem, I didn't even think of it as a Darius, I just thought of it as, what have we been wondering this entire time?
I thought about that too, as well.
But then, like, nigga, I've been kissing Al. Like, come on.
Yeah. I thought about that too, but then also Darius is like, he's not really shocked or moved by anything that
Yeah. Oh, it was definitely falling in with this character, but I did think about that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, because does Darius live with Al?
Yeah, if he does live with him, like, okay, so yeah, I don't know. Because
it seems like he always has. And if we're gonna go to like stereotypical like gender norms, Al's on the TV with the remote, and Darius is like always in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Like, and I'm not saying like that's women's. I'm just saying like,
yeah.
I think if we were to do a rewatch, we'd probably see things that we didn't see then, and we delved in a lot. But like knowing how things end, I think would inform it a lot.
Yes, because you know hindsight is 20/20.
Oh God, strangled lungs.
Go back to the shoe man in the van, and that's when Ern and Darius have their powwow with the guy. The guy agrees to get out of the car. The first they negotiate, and he's talking about 8 minutes of kissing. I don't want Yeah, I don't want to kiss nobody for 8 minutes.
I don't want to kiss anybody for 8 minutes.
No one needs to be kissed for 8 minutes straight. Like, you should have moved on to another body part if you need to be using your mouth anyway. Now, other body parts
feel good after that. It seems like it gets that swollen, like I can't even feel it anymore. Like I'm numb. Like this, like there's like overstimulation. Like stop, move on.
Yeah, if you can't feel your mouth anymore while you're kissing,
like, I'm swollen now.
This is really extreme.
Oh, I said too much.
Like that's why I say move that energy to another body part. So, like
my earlobes is lonely.
Yeah, you have all of this other real estate to work with. Just go ahead and move over there. But yeah, he proposes 8 minutes, and then they haggle back and forth, and then they have he steps out of the car. Now, my immediate thought, since I'm a nigga, is just steal the shoes and run. He done got out of the car, just take them.
Or I would never get out of my car unless he had them keys. I'd be thinking, like, if it wasn't these rich fools, these are going to drive away with my inventory. So he had to have had the keys. I was very surprised that he got out of that truck. When they said they had to talk about it, I thought they were going to get out of the van.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get out of the van.
I was like, that is weird as hell.
Not stay there with all the merchandise, because I'm like, he ain't going to get out of the van. I mean, he's not watching the merchandise. Just take the shoes, and he don't want money for them. Just take them and go. Yeah. He's older than them. At least they can run away from him. They don't have to kick his ass. He's just a shoe man. But anyway, the conversation that Ern had about the shoes and Black people valuing these athletic shoes, I've never been a sneakerhead. I've never understood people who are sneakerhead. It's beyond, because I know how much these things cost to make, and it's just not worth it. Now, did I have every color Converse there were? Yes, while I was a kid, my mom insisted on buying every shade of Converse because I liked the shoes. They were comfortable, but she could also machine wash them. They would last for years. And they have this thing about them where because they've been around for years, there's a classic shoe that will never go out of style. If I'm not wearing the latest Jordans, then I'm automatically out of style. So I'm like, these shoes have no fucking value to me whatsoever. I never got the obsession.
Yeah. I've never been a sneakerhead, but I will say lately, like in the last couple of years, I'm really starting to get into them. I don't think I will ever be on the level where I'm going to Vans and like spending like mortgage money or like, you know, college fund and all that. But I am starting to notice them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's like, oh, I want to be comfortable now, but I'm into Pumas now.
So Paperboy, as they're debating how long they should kiss or whether or not they should kiss for these shoes, Paperboy pulls up to the same mall and goes in trying to look all incognito and is immediately recognized by the pretzel lady who offers to give him 2 pretzels for free. And then she's like, want to be on my Instagram live? Like, no, bitch. I'm just here buying pretzels. Oh, that's Chris Evans over there.
I have to ask, though, because the people who get those celebrity pics, they went for it. And then they asked, you know. I thought he was a little harsh towards her, but like she didn't seem to like take it. Like she looked kind of like, but then he was like, let me ask you a question. I'm like, you see my fat ass? I'd be like, no, don't ask me nothing. Take you 2 pretzels and get out of here. Like the way he shut her down, it was kind of harsh. And she was like, And then he was like, hey, let me ask you a question. I was like, nigga, you want her to help you? Are you serious? But she did. And she answered his question, you know.
But the other side of that is like, you know, at the end of the day, entertainers are people too. They're not on.
No, I get it.
Yeah, they're not on all the time. And he just wanted to hang out at the mall and be normal. Now, he should have known better. Like, you could have gone anywhere else, in the library, to a park, you know, just anywhere else.
Apparently it runs in their family. These old men just want to walk through the mall and like put themselves in situations like you just like your uncle. Like, what's going on?
So you don't
what is it with y'all? Let me go to the mall. No, I get it. Like, they want to be people. I just felt like the way he responded to her was harsh, but he was also stressed too. So, yeah. But that scene reminded me of the scene when he got high and he was walking, had the hat on, and the girl was like, I know that you're a rapper, like, because of that hat. It's like, Al always thinks that he's being smooth or cool. And it's like, there's always like somebody there to call him out, you know? Which, I mean, I guess that was him because I don't think that person was there. But anyway.
The other thing I love about this scene is how quickly it got around the mall that Paperboy was there. You know, so yeah, all the mall employees texting each other, letting folks know. And so, so your aspiring rap guy is like, this is my chance. This is my
poor baby. I really thought that was going to end differently for him. I was like, oh, is this kind of like, you know, it's the last season, like we're passing the torch. I like that they use like a brown person because, you know,
No, like I know shit was.
That was sad and funny.
We didn't actually hear him rap though, but yeah, he was steady dreaming. But anyway,
he was like, nigga, do you not see this chaos? It was like Darius trying to return that thing. Like, you might trying to rap to him right now.
So
he is focused on that boy's gonna make it because he has tunnel vision.
It did not sound like he rhyme just something like jacuzzi. I don't know when it comes up.
I know it was like I think it was gonna be in the style of rap now. That's kind of like I'm trying to start my car with my car is sputtering. Socks, shoes, and just like let's just reference things like that. The baby tempo of like a lazy horse.
Okay, so Al leaves the mall with his pretzels and goes outside to eat them on the bench. That's where you see the kids doing their rubber band dancing, as you have called it. And he hears the Dodge Challenger 70s tan booming system. How did this nigga have a GPS directly to Paperboy? Because this is, in fact, the dude who the barkeep was referencing in the Streisand Effect. This is the same guy. Yeah. It's taken how many years for him to hunt Paperboy down?
4.
All right. But he was on his mission.
Which is the length of high school. And he kind of referenced it like, this is like somebody from school. I'm like, oh, all right. But my GPS does that. I have been in a parking lot before and it'll say like, Like, I mean, it didn't say right and there's Paperboy, but like if I'm going to the mall, I have gotten, like it's gotten better. It'll be like, oh, I'm in a parking lot. Because you just got to be like, let me get out of this fake road and like get onto the, no, mine will say like destination. It will bring you to the door.
You would willingly give me your exact location so I could come straight to you. Paperboy does not like this. They have beef, okay? There's no way Paperboy would give him or anybody else a specific location. So it was just strange to me, like, this nigga found Paperboy. He came right to where he was, got out of his car, and called him out. And then just started following him to the mall with that crazy look on his face.
He looked like an anime character.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He did look crazy. And the barkeep said, this guy was different. I mean, just described him to a T. And
he wasn't cleaner than the Board of Health. So maybe
his car was cleaner than the Board of Health. He said the guy was different, not a friend, shaved head, pink jacket. That was him. This dude.
Yeah, no, I believe you.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't help that like you got workers saying like Paperboy at the mall. It just reminded me of the thing that happened recently with the rapper. I think I'll link to it. That was killed at Roscoe's. Because
his
girlfriend posted it and then it came up. That's what that reminded me of. Again, this was filmed a while ago. It always amazes me, like, okay, this show is on now, but they filmed this a while ago. But this reminds me, it always echoes something that just happened. And I don't remember that rapper's name, but they traced that social media post to like why they were able to find him.
Because we knew that it was they were already texting, and so probably somebody did text outside that Paperboy was there, and that's how he found out. But how he came to his exact location, that was funny. So anyway, unless he said, "Oh, Paperboy was at the pretzel stop," so maybe that's how he found him.
That's what I was trying to say. If you put like that was my point. If it's somewhere that has its own location, like. I keep saying Old Navy, it's just like stuck in my head, but it's like there's lots of different locations of Old Navy. But even though there'll be one in the mall, if it has an anchor, if it has its own entrance, it will show up as a location because it is a location. Yes, it's the one in the mall. But if they are a way into the mall, those stores have their own, as if it's freestanding. But if you know where the mall is, you're like, oh, this is the mall. And it will, because I've done it, it will tell you like, it's on your right. I'm literally like, yeah, that's Old Navy. It won't, it would be weird if he was sitting inside the mall. He had his walking GPS. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've never tried that. But the fact that he was on the perimeter, they didn't show him. He could have literally been sitting outside of
the pretzel store. And then
as he's walking through, people see him. All they got to do is record him and say Paperboy. You don't need his consent for that. People do that shit all the time.
Okay. All right. So I don't have a mystical element for this episode then?
But
I'm just like, what the fuck?
No, but that would still be like, if we keep it within that was an invisible car in season 1. So I think that this qualifies. It's okay for it. They can be a mystical element.
For that long, it just found him straight up, just drove right up to him, and then with no hesitation,
turned right. I was like, oh yeah.
With no hesitation, just came into the mall and started shooting people. When he first started shooting, I was just like, oh goodness. But I posted a link in the show notes. Atlanta shootings, or I will post it. Atlanta shootings at malls. There's actually an article where it just lists off all the various Atlanta mall shootings because it's a regular occurrence.
That's crazy. We had one a few years back.
But yeah, there's a lot of shootings at malls. So this wasn't unusual at all. And that's why at this point, when the lady pulls out, first let me go back. Because the guy is following him, and then that's when Paperboy is like, "Oh, let me look at this belt." And the lady is like, "Are you a crackhead? Because only crackheads buy that belt."
She's right. My brother-in-law used to sell those in California at the what do y'all call them? Swap meets?
Yeah.
He used to sell them.
The crackheads, like
everybody. Well, this was also, I think, the reason why only crackheads buy them now is because they're outdated. But there was a time where everybody was buying those, but they're out of style now. So it made sense to me that she's like, only crackheads buy that. She didn't say now, but the fact that she was still selling those, I'm like, yeah, only a crackhead would buy that now. But years ago, everybody was buying those. Like they were in style.
Oh, wow.
Not for me ever, but for a certain type.
Yeah, a person who does that. Okay, yeah. So why is she still selling them then if she only thinks that crackheads buy them?
Crackheads are very hardworking and they be having money on them.
Okay.
Ask my husband about, he was the first person that I ever met. We were not married yet. And it made me question if I would ever do that. When he needed a service done from painting a car to such, she was like, oh, well, let's just get a crackhead to do it.
Yeah.
You know, but they tend to have money, just not for that long.
Not because they use it to spend it on crack, but or other sundries.
I'm thankful. I'm thinking she probably knows like some entrepreneurial crackheads who are like probably buying those things up and then selling them. Like maybe there's a crackhead with his own van in those belts. I have no idea.
Well, you recently saw that commercial that politician put out where he was saying like, oh, you have a problem with the police? Well, next time you're in trouble, call them.
Oh, you mean John Kennedy of Louisiana? Yeah. Like call a crack, which didn't even make, okay, I'm not, it didn't even make sense. That was not like, what are you talking about? That shows how they just, yeah.
Well, first of all, like, are any crackheads numbers listed? Because honestly, like, Lance is not the first person I know who relies on a crackhead to just get some stuff done. You get a Mexican or a crackhead. That sounds really bad.
Lance said both of those things. Just about like, who did I marry? But I blame his paw because he had a business. And I'm sorry, once you have a business, it's automatically a Republican. Like, because the ways in which you think, it's like, that's real Republican abuse.
The crackheads only buy the belt buckles or whatever. And then that's when your boy just opens up and starts shooting in the mall. Paperboy ducks, he's running. This is when I wonder, like, where's your strap, man? Like, where's your strap? He didn't have it, but the lady with the baby carriage had it. The white guy had it. The random brown person had it.
and he had it and was like, I'm like, is he a cop? Because he didn't just have it. He was like, no, I'm going to walk towards you. And I felt the sense of like, oh, but then I got worried, like, okay, but here's the problem with this. At least when it's police, not that the police are good, I don't believe that. But you can kind of tell, okay, shirts and skins. If you're just joining this, how do you know that it wasn't the lady with the baby carriage that started the shit? That was my only like, okay, wait, logistics police.
I fell off the couch laughing because I was just like, oh yes, this is so likely to happen in Atlanta because everybody be strapped up out here. Everybody got guns. Everybody believes in carrying their guns. Yes, I know you're in Louisiana. Yes. So I was just like, this is very Atlanta.
It was heartwarming for me because I felt like, oh, but then I was like, wait a minute. Does that white man know? Like, it isn't like people were like, let's say Paperboy. It was just, I was actually comforted by it because I'm watching it on TV. If I was there, I'm sure I would have been horrified because the bullets are flying.
Yeah.
But then my thought was, wait, this is a brown man. Over to black man. This lady. The only people who I felt like were safe was like the woman with the baby, although I didn't peep like what she may have just been a white woman with black hair. And then the white man who looked like, of course you have a gun.
Yeah.
But then in the confusion, how do you know who's bad? Because you got Alfred hiding.
Well,
maybe everybody knew that the Yu-Gi-Oh character was the one that was the problem.
I mean, he was the one that first started shooting. So I'm guessing, like, as people started screaming and running, and they're looking to where the shots were coming from, they saw his crazy looking ass, and then he grabs a child hostage. And
so first of all, the irresponsibility with which you are just firing, that pisses me off. Like, contain your shit. Like, don't do this. When he grabbed that child.
Yeah, he grabbed a child.
I was mad, and then it reminded me of that crazy boy. Was it Zan that had that was like putting that little boy in harm's way?
Yeah.
I immediately was like, oh my God, the children.
Yeah.
The poor children. Like, what's gonna happen to, like, I found myself wondering, like, what happened to that boy? That's some traumatic shit. Like, did you then go? Because again, I like, I'm serious. Oh yeah. See, I wasn't even trying to bring New Orleans into this. The most rhetorical rap ever. What happened to that boy? I'm like, well, what did happen to that boy? No, but like, again, seeing things from the point of view of children, it's like, okay, is he okay? Like, what is he gonna go to school and do? Like, what? I just like went down that rabbit hole, and then I was like, is it weird that I was comforted by the fact that like people were strapped up and ready to go? And then just as quickly as I was comforted, I was like, wait a minute, how do you know? Because
well, you know, the police weren't going to get there fast enough to do something. And even if they did get there, they might shoot the wrong people. They might have shot the woman.
I'm sorry, but that brown dude was some sort of law enforcement. His pacing was like, God, I've been trained. He felt like he is the only one. He was not shooting and going like this. He was just like, I've been waiting for you for years and just walking towards him. But it was comforting. It was comforting. But initially, I was just mad that guy, like, you just going to start shooting their families here. Their kids. And the woman with the baby, like, I was like, I talked so much about how much you're a target if you're a woman. And then if you have your child with you, it's a double target. I appreciated that.
Yeah,
I did. It was like, protect. Yes.
She didn't hesitate, and she showed her training. She had excellent weapons control. She had trigger discipline and everything. Yeah. I shoot. Yes. Audience. I shoot. Yes. We're in the
I will soon be able to join that club.
Yes. So anyway, yeah, I know it's horrible, and I guess this is an indication of how twisted my humor is, but I was cracking up because, yeah, they had the Rainbow Coalition of armed people. I
loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, you were cracking up, and I was like, there's hope for this country. Then I was like, well, is it?
Oh, this is terrible. This is a mall. This is a public place. You know, this shouldn't.
It made me feel safe, kind of, because I'd be scared when I'm out.
It reminded me of why. Yeah, it reminded me of why I don't spend that much time at malls. So anyhow, okay. So meanwhile, while the shooting is going on, Darius and Ern are kissing. They have decided to kiss.
Like 7th graders, which, okay.
And then when Ern is moving his face closer, he's just like,
And then in the background, because all my life.
Yes, what?
I linked to the video, and I showed those Casey and JoJo, and I was like, I forgot how good of a song that was.
Like, why would is that the song that two men would love to kiss to, Casey and JoJo? Or I don't know.
First of all, what I thought was crazy was the shoe nigga put the music on. There was no music before.
Yeah,
he was put it on for them to kiss. So this happens a lot. Shoe man was like, hold on. So I forgot that song opens with strings. It is a beautiful song.
It is a gorgeous song.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I was sitting there like looking for the link, and it came on, and I was like, nostalgia just overtook me. I was tearing up.
They're kissing. Shoe man gets shot. And I'm like, wow. He had to die? That's terrible.
But it's the bullets just flying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, but so that goes into like, it's one of my elements. That's the like, there was so many bullets and like nobody else. To me, that was my mystical thing.
Yeah. Like, how did only one person manage to get shot? Yeah. And it was the shooting.
I felt bad, but then it was like, well, you were kind of exploiting your position, but I guess you didn't have to die for it. But
because I'm like, why are you trying to get them to kiss so you could like, blackmail them or something? Or I don't know. Like,
I think he's recording it. Or I really do think that he's just getting off.
Okay. Yeah.
Not like getting off like, ew, where's your hand? But just like, I just think it's just kind of like, these people want this so much. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he seriously has contempt for all the people knocking on his van door.
Yeah. He's obviously getting out of, he's getting something out of it. Okay. So they just stop kissing, and I'm just wondering why they had to have heard all of this going on, because they're screaming, they're shooting, and maybe they didn't
the sounds of Atlanta.
They didn't hear it over the Casey and JoJo. They did, or I guess a bullet doesn't make noise when it's entering somebody's body, but he did slump, and there was blood, spewed all over the windshield. And okay, well, anyway,
Darius was trying to return the air fryer and did not notice all the shit. This doesn't surprise me. People in this show, in this universe, just, they're immune to chaos.
Well, they got their shoes, and then apparently Darius put them on right away.
That was hilarious how I was like, we're implicated. I was like, can y'all get out of there? I'm mad that they didn't wipe nothing down. But then I was like, but the police not going to care about a dead nigga anyway. So I can't see anybody being like, hold on, the angle of this print isn't right, and like really doing like police work. So that took me down a dark path.
You know,
Like anybody
Atlanta doesn't have, the police force doesn't have a forensics lab.
You told me that.
I learned it from watching 48 Hours. I'm like,
that doesn't surprise me. Don't think about it. Because with the knowledge comes responsibility. That's why they don't like reopening shit, because it's all about ego. Girl, like lawyers and judges where it's like, oh, I don't want to reopen. And it's not just because they want the law to stand because chaos. It's kind of like, oh, you know, that's such and such ruled on that. And I don't want to. And that happens with the cops too. Like, yeah, you know, we see this going on, but I don't want to offend because they're in a gang.
Don't even get me started on lawyers and judges right now. Okay.
So they slide on out, which that scene was funny. Like the way that they slid out. And the thing was, you didn't even have to kiss.
The entire scene was funny. Like this entire episode. Okay, so I don't know what happens to dude with pink hair after he shoot. I don't know, but they all leave, and the Paperboy gets saved. Paperboy gets saved by some guy named Doug, who just happens to pull up at the right time. And what I was thinking was like, okay, did some guy named Doug send the crazy guy in there to shoot so that he was in the right place to save Paperboy's day? So that there
is a darker variation of this show where it's been some guy named Doug the entire time. I'm gonna get my song.
They go back to the house, and you know, Paperboy's in his safe space again because I guess he's found out who's killing him. They've caught. Aaron tells them that they've caught the Crank That Killer, who his face also looked familiar. Does he show up in any other episode?
I don't know. But when I first watched the episode, I thought it was Shoe Man. I was like, "What?" I thought it was Shoe Man. Like, that would be a way to lure some people. But then when I watched it again, I was like, no, he looks nothing like him.
No, it was a different guy. Plus, Shoe Man is dead, so how could they have arrested him? So, yeah. So he's in there tending to his plants. He's growing a nice little Sinsemilla plant. So then, I think the funniest part of this scene was them trying to dance to the song, or Darius trying to dance to the song created with Doug and Paperboy. Wait a minute, going back, Al's face when he's just like, oh my God, he's listening to this music because the music is horrible right off the bat.
It is horrible music.
It's horrible. It is trash in every single way. And Darius is like, yeah, this is trash. This is trash. And then attempts to start dancing to it. We've seen him dance before. What episode did we see him dance in?
When they were in Budapest, when they met Socks, and he's off stage dancing like that. Because it was a Dariusism. And I'm like, so this is how this nigga dances. This is his default. It's like Chandler. No, not Chandler. There's a Friends episode where it's like kept secret, like how bad. No, not Chandler. I'm sorry. Seinfeld. Elaine, and how she famously like can't dance. I was like, okay, this is really how he dances.
You know, I've started doing that one dance that the blonde girl that they call, what they call a giraffe or whatever. She's the only girl in it's that show with Charlie Day and the fuck.
Oh, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yes, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. She does the inflatable dance. And that's actually fun to do.
Those are some awful people.
They're horrible. That show is hilarious. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he starts dancing like that. I guess that's his dance. And then the show ends after that.
Well, you know, they ask Al what did you end up doing? And I forget like what he says. But it kind of ends on them like really trying to analyze this bad music because Ern was like, it's like it's more sound than music. And it's like, that is exactly right. And then it kind of, you know, and then he's like trying to dance. And I guess they've just seen Darius dance so much, they're not horrified in the least. And then it ends like with that music. Oh.
Yes. And then some guy named Doug on the track say, yeah, Paperboy, get in here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, no. That was hilarious. But like, when some guy named Doug picks him up and he's like, oh my God. And like, he's so relieved to have been saved. That seemed to me, because my dark brain was going to like, is this dude tracking him? Like, that's just like you picked him up. it was kind of a scary scene to me. And I got the same dread that I have felt for Al a couple of times when he was in the woods, when he was in Europe and the people. It's just like Al is constantly in these situations where you are afraid for him, which the juxtaposition of him being like a big black dude, it's like, oh, like he's fine. But he is frequently just vulnerable. And it just kind of highlights like, yeah, you're a star, but like, you're also vulnerable. Like it's, I mean, and I'm not saying anything like groundbreaking, but like celebrities being surrounded by security. Whereas like, you can look at that as like, oh my God, your entourage, but they need it because people are fucking crazy. But it's like, it just called back to so much. The woods and last season, but also like him being in the car with Zan and just like, don't be in this situation. Like shit is just popping up and you're just like, you're walking up to it, you know, like just him being constantly bewildered about like what's going on, but also probably maybe in danger. Like,
but you know what?
It's just crazy.
I think the way that they portrayed that is more closer to reality than we could give it credit for being it. Because honestly, like this organization of a city, of homes, of structure, of grid systems and order and alarms and safety nets and everything, take it all the way, and we're still in the wilderness just trying to survive. And anything could fucking happen. And you are a student of that. You are a professor and a student of that. And I have to remind myself, like, you know what? Like, I think I'm safe, but none of us actually ever really are. You know, we're all dwelling in some sort of province of faith in believing that we're going to get up each morning. We're just going to go about our day unmolested and undisturbed. No, this is the wild. Anything can fucking happen. So I actually appreciate the show for though the crazy things that happen to Al, and all of them are indeed crazy, but it's honestly no crazier than real life.
Hence my anxiety. And why I'm like, oh, why I get mad at people in my life who are just like, why is your door unlocked? I will never understand the ease with which people watch the news. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That happened like right down the street, and then proceed to just want to be the next story on the news and look at me like I'm crazy.
Let's go into our elements.
Yeah. Let's do that right now. Okay, your That's So Atlanta moment.
Okay, yeah. Greenbriar Mall, very familiar with that mall. And then also overall mall shootings, very common in Atlanta. It's just a regular thing.
That's so horrible.
Yeah.
But hey, mine was kind of like the other episode, just like rapper life, hanging out in the studios, having to be incognito. And also the way that the cashier is just so used to there just being celebrities around that, you know, she has like what her telltale signs are. And just because a lot of things are shot in Atlanta, like there's a lot of stars that like, you know, quite as kept hang out in Atlanta. And also that chick's name being Chartreuse, which that could just be like, that's so black. And isn't Chartreuse, is it like a red or a pink?
I believe it's a type of shade of red or pink.
Yeah, because I was like, is her name Chartreuse because her shirt red? Like, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, what color is Chartreuse? But that could be like
no, Chartreuse is like a shade of green, like it's a yellow green.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Okay, well, her name. Okay. What about your Dariusism?
Okay, yeah, the way that he was totally relaxed, like he's like, really? You know, his response was like, really? Okay. And he just wanted the shoes. He's just like, look at the shoes. Like, okay, it's not a big deal.
Duh.
Yeah, it just wasn't a big deal for him to kiss, and then him leaning forward, like just,
yeah, he was just down.
That's how OC leans forward to kiss me. Like, okay, kiss goodnight.
I was like a kid. Yeah. I was like junior high, like it was very first kiss, which I guess it was for them with each other. But mine was, he's like Sock Man, except it's shoes, his spastic dancing. And then the way when Ern was like, he didn't want to do it. And he was like, what am I supposed to do? Kiss myself? And then in a quieter voice, he said, I can't. And it sounded like, and I know this because I've tried. The way he said it, like, he didn't say like, I can't kiss myself. He was like, what am I supposed to do? Kiss myself? I can't. You sound disappointed.
He be stressing out over the most random things. Like everything else is no stress, but like I really thought about this.
Random shit. He's stressed. Not about money, not about food. Yeah. Your mystical realism.
Yeah. Okay. So I was really without your help, I was just totally mystified. Like, how the fuck did he find Paperboy? How? Like, totally ignoring that they've texted out. Just like, no, those texts are contained in the mall. Like, how the fuck?
The fact that you thought that it was text, though, when that girl said that, I was like, she's looking at Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Social media text, it's all the same thing.
Oh, okay. Like, I thought you thought it was like, here is a text chain with all of the words. I was like, nah. She just opened up her Instagram and said, somebody.
I'm a middle-aged woman.
So am I. But when you say, but I'm also very literal. I'm like, no, that was not a text. That was a notification from Instagram. You're like, you're a text.
It's like, I'm going to send you a text. But all of those social media channels, you can literally message through them. I
get that. I guess I just was not looking at it as a message. I was looking at it as like somebody tapped their Instagram app and it was there.
Yeah.
Because you know that somebody, it's just on there because it's Paperboy. So it's going to trend. So it's going to be at the top of I know on TikTok, it's your For You page, but on Instagram, I forget what it is, but like you can hit this thing. Mm-hmm. And all of the things that are just like, this is what's happening, just come up. So, yeah.
Well, for me, I was mystified. I was just like, how this boy?
I was like,
how? Like, but he got GPS on his ass now? Is he like, okay, anyway, but you cleared that up for me. Thank you. Thank you for being a friend.
Whoa. You're sorry for nobody to know it. I missed the goal. Why wasn't nobody getting hit? All them bullets flying. I don't want death, but that was unreal to me. SPR moment.
Okay, so yeah, the realest part of this episode for me was Donald Glover was in fact talking about Black people's infatuation with shoes. And when he went through like, I get talked about if I wear, I wore a certain loafer, even though they cost $900, I'll get talked about. Meanwhile, this rich white guy can walk into a board meeting with beat up shoes. He's respected. No one ever says shit. And then he points out that Darius was wearing a paper towel on his head and looked good.
A paper bag. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is with our obsession with shoes and why? Because, we're killing it. We have killed each other over shoes. Whether it was robbing somebody and taking their shoes from them, or on a Black Friday, a certain shoe going on sale, and we're trampling people to get to it and buy it while it's on sale. And it's just a fucking shoe. It's not going to increase our prestige anywhere outside of the hood. And I don't even know why in the hood it has value, because once you put that $100 and however many dollars on your feet, you can't eat it. All you can do is walk around on it. You can't even fucking machine wash that shit. So that means that you're taking extra time to care for, and not step around. You're limiting your movement to care for this fucking shoe that will only be a shoe and only give you a little bit of prestige for a hot minute while they're still in style. That's real. And I'm glad he pointed that out. Because that's ridiculous and we need to do better.
Yeah, but that's not going away. It's a status symbol. And it makes complete sense to me. Not like I understand it. I understand where, like, what does everything go back to for us, for Black Americans? Look what I got. Like, I was able to attain this, even though it's like, unless you're the kind of person that can buy this and it's just a drop in the bucket for you and nothing else is being neglected, okay. But otherwise, like what? But it is so important. It's just a status. It's just like, I've made it to some kind of level. Like it means something for a lot of people, not me. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't see, like I said, lately I've been kind of getting into them, but nothing will ever be compromised so that I can have them. No. I also never know when something is not like, it's like, I like this shoe. I don't care.
Yeah.
That this is not, I don't care. I like it. And I found it on sale. So I buy most things. Like, but it's just that ain't going away. That's never going to go away.
If you add up all the shoes, like, could you have put a down payment on a car that will take you to a job that you might, you were previously walking to or catching the bus to? Could you have put that with some other money to make a down payment on a house? I just think about how much money you see people with 20, 30 pairs of these shoes, and they bought them right when they came out, not when they were on sale, but right when they came out so they could floss right then and there. And you could have invested in that. You can invest that money in something that pays you back,
and long term. Or even the knowledge that you could even do that. Like some people don't. That reminds me of another time that Ern and Darius were on a quest when Ern was like, I needed this money now. And like Darius like took him through this whole like, well, we're going to buy these puppies and then blah, blah, blah. But anyway, there's so many.
And that was on the Streisand effect. And again, yes. So this episode and very much echoed that episode.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Where's your SGR?
The way everybody was armed in that mall. Like when that woman with the carriage took it out, I was like, oh my God. I mean, if I'm honest, it's when the guy actually started shooting at Al. I was like, oh shit. But just like that whole thing. And also some dude named Doug showing up. Was he tracking him? Which maybe he didn't even have to, because if he saw like, oh, Paperboy's at the mall, like maybe he was like coming to bob him, because everybody knew that Paperboy was there, which is what made me think about that rapper, the thing that happened most recently. And then, I was thinking, man, if Paperboy does die, which I didn't think that would really happen, but it made me think about conversations that we've had before about when you hear about like, a rapper being shot, but it's not like in a setting where you would expect it to be like, wait, he's at the mall, like what's, and then it makes you wonder like, what else is going on? And like, now we know usually there's not a whole lot like nefarious that they could have been into. It's just bullshit sometimes. Yeah. Because I did think that like, wow, if he would have died right now, it's such a dime a dozen. Maybe his would be elevated a little bit because it's not like some of these people that are like you pointed out to me are sometimes called rappers, but they're not even like really, it's just like a person was killed, but they call him a rapper, like how like those people are killed and like, I've never heard of this person, but like, at least with Paperboy, it might be elevated a little bit because he does have fame. Yeah. Like it wouldn't stay in the cycle for that long.
Like Paperboy, he seems to me like a Nipsey Hussle type figure where, he's
very much known, definitely has an audience.
He's known, he has an audience and everything. And Nipsey Hussle was not in the game like that at, point in which he got killed. So,
but then Paperboy maybe more than Nipsey Hussle because he had a whole European tour. Like, I don't know if Nipsey Hussle was on that level where, like people in Amsterdam were like waiting for him. And I mean, I could be wrong because that's not somebody that I was well versed in.
Thank you for watching. Rappin' Atlanta is recorded and produced by Nita Charisse and Nikki Ibo. Our theme music is Joy Clark's Galaxy Groove, performed by Joy Clark. Discover more about this talented artist at joyclarkmusic.com. Rappin' Atlanta's artwork is created by Prime Vice Studios. Learn more about this intellectual property development agency at primevice.com. You can find us on your favorite podcast player as well as YouTube. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and follow Rappin' Atlanta on Twitter and Instagram at Rappin' Atlanta.